Welcome to today's session on introduction, the joy of computing using Python. So this is tutorial session 8. So let's wait for 5 minutes so that few people can join and then we will start the session. So hi everyone, we'll start the session in few minutes. So please wait till then. So hi everyone, am I audible? And please make sure my screen is also visible. So can anyone just confirm by typing in the chat box, please? So I hope my screen is visible to you all and I am perfectly audible to you all. So let's start this session. So let's see what you studied during this week. So initially you saw about tuples, what are tuples in Python, and then you saw how to do some simulations, and then you saw about something about image processing, anagrams, and Facebook sentiment analysis. Fine. These are the topics that you were taught to in this week. So for today's session, what I will do is I have some problems that are based on these topics. We'll discuss those problems for today. So let's start. Joy of computing using Python. So I am Rupesh Kumar, and today is September 13, 2024. It's a Friday basically, and these sessions are held 6 to 8 p.m. every Friday. Fine. So let's start. So let's start with some basics on tuple. So what are tuples? So let me open up the Spider controller for you guys. Spider ID basically. Hmm, ठीक है. So let's do some operations on tuples in Python. Okay. So what are tuples? Tuple is simply, let's say you have to create a tuple T, you have to use this small brackets. It will create a tuple T. The issue is the tuples are immutable objects. So you can't add elements to a tuple. Now let's say if I declare my tuple as 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I want to access the values for a tuple. I can use the same bracket notation for indexing, and I will get the values. Now let's say if I want to update the values, then this does not allow because tuples are immutables. Now let's say if I want to create a tuple that contains different data types. So let's say some string, then one integer, then let's say some boolean. So it supports such operations. Fine. I can also. So everyone, are you able to follow everything on the screen? I hope it is not lagging or anything. Other than that, you can also create some other mutable objects in tuples, I guess. So you can say t at 0 is basically a list. Now you can append it to that value, I guess. Ah. So tuples are immutable themselves. So basically the elements of tuples can't be changed. Tuples can have multiple data types into a single tuple. You can add multiple data types into a single tuple variable, but you cannot change the values stored in a tuple. However, you can add mutable data structures inside a tuple. So let's start with the problem. Which of the following statements about tuples in Python is correct? Tuples are mutable, allowing modification of individual elements after creation. So everyone, the text is visible to you guys, no? So please confirm. Hello, am I audible? So which of the following statements about tuples in Python is correct? So let us look at these options one by one. The option A says tuples are mutable, allowing modification of individual elements after creation. So we already saw tuples are not mutable. You can't modify the individual elements present in the tuple after the tuple has created. So this is incorrect. So let's not consider this option. Let's go to the next option. Tuples are enclosed in square brackets enclosure similar to list. So this is incorrect. If that was the case, then it would be literally difficult for the Python interpreter to understand to differentiate between tuples and lists. So this is also incorrect. We use small braces. Let me type it here. Incorrect. Small braces, which is this, are used to define tuples in Python. Okay. Tuples are immutable, meaning their elements cannot be changed after creation. So this is perfectly true. So tuples are immutable. You can't change the elements of the tuples after creation. Okay. Then tuples can only so this is true. This is true. Tuples can only contain elements of the same data type. This is false. As we already saw, tuples can contain elements for different data types. So what would be the correct answer? Option C. Tuples are immutable and allow storing elements of different data types. Fine. This is the basic property of a tuple. So anyone, do you have any doubt? Please type in the chat box. Okay, let's move to the next question. Tuples share a close resemblance to lists. Sorry. Just a bit of. Hmm. Tuples share a close resemblance to lists. They can be indexed and sliced just like lists. The main point of difference between lists and tuples is that tuples cannot be updated in place. Elements of a in a tuple cannot be deleted. Which of the following statements are true about tuples? So we are given some properties about tuples that they are share close resemblance to lists. So yeah, they are quite similar that in the as to the list. However, in a way that they can be indexed and sliced just like lists. However, the main difference is that tuples cannot be updated in place. You can't change the elements of the tuples after the tuple has been created, and the element cannot be deleted. Then the question is, which of the following statements are true about tuples? A tuple can hold mutable objects. So we already saw a tuple can hold a list and you can then append that list. So in this way, a tuple can hold mutable objects. Okay? This option is correct. Everyone, do you have any confusion in this point? So a tuple can hold mutable objects. What is a mutable object? Any of Python object that whose value can change. So these are variable names, variables, elements such as x equals to 10. So then you can change the value of x variable, or you can call it as lists. What are lists? Lists are basically used to store multiple data elements into a single variable in Python. And lists are mutable, and we can create a tuple of mutable. So a tuple can hold mutable objects. Fine. Let's go to the next point. Tuples can be mm, nested. So this is true. Why? Like by nesting, what they mean is, can you create a tuple inside a tuple? Can a tuple hold another tuple? So let's say if I create a tuple like this, 1, 2, and then I hold another tuple within this tuple, 3, 4. So this is also possible. You can see. So tuple can hold another tuple. Tuples can be listed. A list can be converted into a tuple and vice versa. So yeah, that is also true. So you can due to their similar properties as lists, they can be converted into lists and vice versa. Then the last option says a tuple can hold non-homogeneous sequence of items. For example, a tuple is containing a number one, then a string cool, and then a boolean true. So this option is also true. The correct answer is all of the above. Fine. Anyone, do you have any doubts? Please type in the chat box. So someone is asking, what is the meaning of non homogeneous sequence? So what do you mean by non homogeneous sequence? So what is the sequence? Sequence is a set of elements. Fine. So let's say if I define a list that is a sequence of integers. So what it will contain? One integers like 1, 2, 3, and so on. When I talk about a sequence of strings, so it can the list can contain strings like this: str1, str2, and so on. Fine. Now, these lists contains homogeneous sequences. The first list contains a homogeneous sequence of integers. The second list contains a homogeneous sequence of string elements. Now, what is the meaning of non-homogeneous? Basically, it means that there is a list that contains a mixture of different data types, elements of different data types. So let's say I have a string and as well as an integer in the same list. Then this list is said to be containing non-homogeneous elements in itself. And tuples allow this operation in Python. Fine. And someone is saying how the first one is true. So this is the example that we already saw. So let's say I am creating a tuple with countries 1, 2, and then I am creating a blank list. So basically by defining this square braces, I am creating a blank list within the tuple. Now what I can do when I query the value of tuple t, you can see its value is 1, 2, and a blank list. Now tuple itself is immutable, but its third variable, which is a list. So t at 2, 0, 1, 2. Sorry. So when you get the value of t at 2, it's a blank list. Now you can change the contents of this list, basically. So you can't change this list entirely, but you can change the content of this list by using the append operation or remove operations. So let's say if I append 1 to this list, you can see now our tuple gets updated to 1, 2 and a list containing one element, that is 1. Fine, Arindo? Is the doubt clear why a tuple can hold mutable objects? Uh, Python tuples actually allow storing mutable objects uh, in a tuple. Okay. So everyone, do you have any doubts? Aryan, please confirm. Fine. So let's go on to the next question. So which of the following best describes the rule of matplotlib.pyplot in Python's matplotlib library for data visualization? So everyone, are you familiar with this matplotlib library in Python? So I'm just trying to give you an example of how to use matplotlib library to understand some basic data, list data basically. So when you talk about data, it is a list containing, let's say we have a list containing 1,000 elements. Okay. So what is the best way to understand what this data means? So the most basic way that you would think of is simply printing the values of the list data. Now let's say data was a list containing 10 elements. Then it would be really easy to understand what is going on with the values present in the data list, as you can see here. Please follow this screen. So you can see the data list contains some random numbers, 10 random numbers. And you can see now, let's say if I want to analyze a large number of data samples. So let's say our data contains 1,000 values, maybe 1,000, let me put it, 1,000, fine. So here I'm using random.sample function and over a range 1 to 10,000 and I'm sampling 1,000 values. Okay. When you look at the length of this data variable, data element, you can see it contains 1,000 values. Now let's say if I print data, then you can see there are 1,000 such numbers, and we are not able to understand anything from this data. Whereas when there were only 10 elements, we were saying that first volume was large, and second is getting smaller, then for third is getting again large, large, small, small, large, large, small, large, something like that. Now, what is happening in the second case? So we can't do basically read the values. So the best way is to draw some plots. So let's say I draw a plot over the data. Okay. Okay. So there is some issue with the plotter. So just 1 minute. Let me check. Okay. So there is a plot pane here. Okay. So now here you can see this plot. Fine. Where the x-axis is the number. So basically the first number is plotted on the x-axis represents the number. So we have plotted 1,000 numbers. So on the x-axis you can see it contains the values between the range 0 to 1,000, and then on the y-axis we have some numbers plotted between. Okay. So what does this tell? This tells that our data is very really random. Now let's say if I use a linear function and try to plot that data. Okay? Let's call a function def f x, take in x and return 2 into x plus 5. So it's a line basically. Now what I do, I declare a blank list data and then for I in, and let's say if I want to generate 1,000 values and then data dot append I of fx of I. Fine. So now when you plot this data, you will see that you will get a straight line. Why? Because we have sampled a straight line using linear function ax y equals to mx plus c. So everyone, is my screen, are my screen objects visible? I hope you are able to see this plot on the right hand side in the plots pane. Everyone, can you anyone just confirm? Great. So what I did is basically when you look at the data values, you can see it contains the values from 1 to 1000 in ascending order. So this is basically the behavior of a line 1 to 2003 of a line having slope of 2 and an offset of 5. So this will have slope 2 and pass through an offset of 5. Fine, everyone. So this is how matplotlib can be useful. Now let's say if I have another data, let's say data squared, which follows uh, a polynomial distribution y equals to x squared. So let's define left x squared, take in x, and what should we return? And def x2, it takes in input x, and it should return 2 into x raised power 2. Fine. Now data, now let's generate 1000 such values for I in range 1000 data dot append x2 at I. It's not data, it's data squared. Fine. Let's do this and then plot the value data squared. So the function is plt.plot. So when you look at these values, you can see you're getting a right the values of the y equals to curve y equals to 2x squared for x where x is lying ranging between 0 to 1000. Fine. So let's say on this so this is how you can use matplotlib to visualize large amount of data. So let's see what the question says. Pyplot in Python's matplotlib library for data visualization. Number option A. It is used for creating figures, adding plots, adding labels, and other visual elements to create visualizations. This is correct. Basically, matplotlib.pyplot is used to create graphic plots of the underlying data. It primarily handles numerical computation and statistical analysis for data visualization. No, it does not handle any numerical computations. It essentially just takes in the numerical values and plots them onto the screen. That's it. It manages data structures and handles data manipulation before visualization. No, this is incorrect. It only shows data. It is responsible for creating interactive visualizations and in animations. No, Matplotlib is not useful for creating real-time interactive visualizations and animation. Fine. The answer is option A. Everyone, do you have any doubt regarding Matplotlib? Anyone, if you have any queries regarding Matplotlib, please type in the chat box. So someone is typing okay. So what issues do you have? Great. So let's move on to the next question. Oh, so it's a really big paragraph question. So let's take a few minutes to read this problem. So in the following paragraph, there is an example from a talk given by Guido. So you all know about Guido von Rossum. So basically, he is considered as the creator of Python programming language. So you can go on to the Wikipedia page and see much more about him. So this is the person who is said to be the creator of Python programming language. Right. So he gave some talk, and the problem statement contains the text of that talk. So in reality, let's read the text. In reality, programming languages are how programmers express and communicate ideas. And the audience for those ideas is other programmers, not computers. So yeah, that's true. The reason computer can take care of itself, but programmers are always working with other programmers, and poorly communicated ideas can cause expensive flops. That's true. Actually, if someone wrote code and you are unable to understand it, then it's really gets messy when someone else to work on that code has to work on that code. In fact, ideas expressed in a programming language often reach the end users of the program, pe- people who will never read or even know about the program, but who nevertheless are affected by it. Fine. So let's read that problem statement now. So these are the text that was taken from his speech. Then let's go to the problem statement. So text processing plays an important role in analyzing text data. Given a piece of text, which of the following piece of code determines if how many words are there in a text? So special characters are not counted as words. For example, space, a gap is not a, it's a word. And we have to write choose the option, choose the code that determines how many words are present in the text. So here are some options. So here is the hmm. So let's solve this problem. So basically, we have to find the function that essentially computes the number of words present in a list. Okay. So let's go to the problem text where they have provided some functions. So sentences equals to text or split. So basically splitting the sentences, splitting this text into multiple sentences. So what this dot split function does is, let's see. So let's say if I have some few lines. So let's may type in programming is a way. Oh, sorry. So it's a string, no? So let's call it talk text, and it contains the following list sentence is a way that computer scientists use to communicate their ideas with each other. They they could have used the machine language to do so. However, that would restrict the amount of collaborations prog- among various programmers across the globe. Fine. So let's say this is our talk text. So let's see a few operations and then we'll proceed. So let's say this is a talk test and not what you are seeing. Let's see what this split operation do. So let's say if I call talk underscore text dot split and split based on a on the period operator. So you can see now what this returns. It returns a list that removes this the full stop mark and returns the statements sentences present in the list separated by that full stop mark. So the first statement is first sentence is programming is the way that computer scientists use to communicate their ideas. Fine. So this is the first statement. So this is the first element in this list. Similarly, the second list is second element is they could have used the machine language to do so. However, that would restrict the amount of collaborations among various programmers across the globe. Fine. So what does this split function do? It essentially splits, finds the given input string character and in the given string and removes that character and converts the remaining part of the string into list of those elements separated by that character. Fine. So let's go back to the problem again. So while blank in sentences, we are removing blanks in the sentences. So basically, now let's do this. So while blank in top text. So let's take store this value. Let's store the sentences into a list text dot split. And now while there is a space in sentences, we have to remove space. Now to remove spaces. Fine. So now let's print the values of sentences. So you can see uh, it is removing any trailing or acha, it's not removing spaces. Basically, it's removing any blank entries in the list. That's it. Now let's check the values of sentences. You can see the last entry that was the no character, blank character in the list that is being removed using this loop. Then let's see what we are doing. Now we are creating a list of words, and for sentence in sentences, we are iterating through each and element in the list of sentences. Then for each sentence, what we are doing, we are splitting it on the basis of space gap. So basically, what does how to define? So how to identify whether there is a word present in the list? Basically, you find the space gap. So a gap essentially separates two different words in the English language. So you find that space gap and split and create the list of the words. Then just extend the So basically add the elements at the end of the current list. So this is what is being done by the words.extend words operation. Now what is happening? We are printing the total number of words present in the sentences. Then we are processing the words using some dictionary operation. So the question is, what is the code that defines if how many words are present in the text? So let us see. So first one says, while no sentence, no character in the sentences, remove that character from the sentences list. So this is correct. Then we are printing the length of sentence. This is incorrect because this will return the total number of sentences present in the text. Let's go to option B. Everyone, please follow this code so that you are able to understand how to debug such programs. So now we have created a words list, which is a blank list, and then we are iterating through each sentence in the sentences list. Now what we are doing, we are creating a value list word that is obtained by splitting each of the sentence present in the sentences list by the space gap. So it essentially returns all the words as a list. Then append that to the global words array and finally print the length of words. So option B is correct essentially. So let's see at option C. So it says, so we have already got the word, so we don't need to do anything else. The option is correct option is option B. Everyone, please look at the code and try to understand that how it is working. If you have any queries, please type in the chat box. So I guess I made some mistake here. Now let's say if we have a word and we are saying that we don't consider any special characters in the list of words, then what should be the length of the total number of words in the list? So in this program, option B, what you are saying is it is creating a list of words, but it's not removing any trailing blank characters in the list of the words. So it might give incorrect number of words. Moreover, it is not removing any special characters. Now let's go to the option C. What it is saying, we have got the words list by splitting them by using spaces. Now if word is not a blank character or word is not a dash character, then we have to append the word into processed words and then return their length. So this is more correct than option B because it is also eliminating any extra character that is a dash hyphen, basically hyphen, and then it is also removing the blank words containing only blank characters. So this is more correct than option B. Then let's see option C. Option D. D is basically okay. So it is also not considering any extra characters, special characters. You can see everyone. So option C is the correct answer. So everyone, do you have any doubts on why this option is correct or the most correct option? Everyone, please type in the chat box if you have any queries related to regarding this problem. Is my screen visible? Anyone please confirm? Am I audible? So anyone, do you have any doubts in understanding this option? Why this option is correct? It seems none of you have any queries in this problem, so let's move to the next problem. So there is a code provided for the next two problems, problems 5 and 6. So let's see. There's a function named anagram. So everyone, are you familiar with the concept of anagrams? So anagrams are English words that have meaning, meaningful English words having same set of characters, English letters. So in which program you are saying if block? Vibhay, can you just tell me, is this if statement for this program or the program that we were looking at the previous one? Previous. So yeah. So what this if statement is doing is it is checking if word is blank, if not the word is blank or word is a space hyphen character or a dash character, then only you have to append the word into the list of processed words. Fine. Vivek, do you understand what is happening here? Hmm. Fine. Let's see what is happening. Yeah. Fine. So everyone, please read this question number 5, code for questions 5 and 6, and let's start solving this one. So what are anagrams? Anagrams are English words having a well-defined meaning that have same set of letters used for creating those characters. So basically, their length has to be, they have to contain exactly same number of letters, as well as the frequency of the letters has to be same. For example, when you talk about the words silent and listen, they both contain the characters LISENT. These characters are present, letters are present in both the words, and each are present once in both the words. So such words are called anagrams. So everyone, please read this piece of code. So everyone, are you able to understand this code? What this function is doing? This function is taking two input variables, word1 and word2. They are essentially strings. Then what it is doing? It is the first if statement is checking if the length of these two words is same or not. If length of word one, so len is a function in Python that essentially gives you the length of characters elements present in a list or a string. Then it is checking if length of word one is not equal to length of word two, then essentially it is not an anagram, so it returns false. Then we are looping through all the characters in the list word in the string word one, and we are counting the total number of occurrences of that character in the word one. If that count is not equal to the total number of occurrences of that same character in the word two, then also these two words are not anagrams. Finally, it is returning true if none of these conditions is true. So basically, let's say if I say there is a word named rubber, then what is the value of, let's say if I have a word like this, word is a string and it contains the value rubber, then what is the value of word dot count r? Anyone? Can anyone tell me what will the value of this value? What is the value of this function called? Just type in the chat box. 2. Correct. So basically, count counts the frequency of a given character in a string. Fine. So it is counting the frequency, and if the frequencies are same, then for sure the words are anagram. Fine. So let's go to the question number 5. It says, how does the given code check if two strings are anagrams? And multiple options might be correct for this problem. So let's see. Compares the length of two input strings. If they are equal, it rotates to check each character counts in the string. So this is correct. Basically, for two correct words to be anagrams, the number of characters in both the words should be same. Then the frequency or the occurrence number of occurrences of each character in both the words should be same. Then using a loop to count the occurrence of character presents at even places in both the strings. So no, that's not correct. Essentially, the code is also not doing this, and you can't even do this because just by checking the even places doesn't guarantees the answer is correct. Then iterates to each character in word 1 and compare the count of that character in both word 1 and word 2. If the counts match for all characters, the strings are considered anagrams. So this is also correct, but before this, it needs to check if the both the words are of same length. Fine. So this is the second step that they are doing using this for loop. Then option D, it says compares the length of two input strings. If they are not equal, it proceeds to check the character count is unique. So this is not true. If the length of the characters are not same, the words are not same, the input string is not same, then they can never be anagram. So do not need to check anything. So option D is incorrect. So option C is partially correct because it's not comparing the length of the words, but still it is correct. Now let's say if you don't count the total number of words, characters in the words, then also it is correct because if the frequency of or the number of occurrences of a particular character in both the words is same, then eventually the total length of the string is, of the words is also same. So that's why they will be also be anagrams. So the correct answer would be options A and C. Fine. Anyone, do you have any doubts on how we are checking anagrams? Checking if two given words as string to a Python program are anagrams or not. What is an anagram? So basically, what are anagrams? Anagrams are words that contain. So let me open up anagrams. So let's take this example. So what are anagrams? Anagrams are a word, phrase, or name. So for our example, let's consider it as a word that is formed by rearranging the letters of another word. For example, we had the word rasp. We rearrange its letters. We can arrange its letters to form the word span. So these two words are anagrams. So this is what anagram means. Fine. Aryan, are your doubts clear? Great. So anyone else? Do you have any doubts? Hello, am I audible? So anyone else? Do you have any doubts in this problem? If you have, please type in the chat box or we can proceed. Fine, I believe now you are able to understand this. So now let's go to question number 6. Let's see what it is saying. It says, if two strings are anagrams, what will be the output of the above code? Fine. The output in case of, so let's say we are giving two strings input to this function, and let's see what will be the output for different inputs. The output in the case of function called anagram with the variables with the input words listen and silent is true. So let's see what it is saying. So true. Because listen and silence are true. So this option is correct. Because listen and silent are anagrams of each other. Then again, this is a Boolean value. So yeah, this is also true. The output in case of anagram hello comma world is true. No, this is incorrect. This is incorrect. Fine. This was correct. This is incorrect. Then again, the output in case of anagram race comma care is true. So yeah, this is also correct. So you can check. So let's say I considered the word starting from the first option, option A. If I consider the word listen, and then I consider the word silent. Okay. So what is the length of listen? The length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Similarly, what is the length of silent? Length of silent is also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then let's start counting the occurrences of each character in the word listen. So the characters are L, I, S, T, E, N. So L occurs one times in listen as well as silent. I occurs one times in both listen as well as silent. Then S also occurs once in both the words. Finally, T occurs once, sure, for sure. Then E occurs also once, and N occurs once. So we have 6 characters, and they all occur once in both the list. The length of the list are same, so they are anagrams. If option A is correct, it will say true. Similarly, when you check the hello and world, they are not anagrams, and race and car are anagrams. So the correct options are options A, B, and D. Anyone, do you have any doubt? Hello, everyone. Do you have any doubt in this problem? Please type in the chat box. Fine. So let's move on to the next question. Question number 7. Consider a tuple of colors. Colors equals to red, green, blue. What is the result of colors plus purple? So can anyone tell me? So basically what we are doing, we are trying to append another tuple containing the entry purple into uh, what would be the answer? we are saying option D. So no, it's incorrect. We can only append, concatenate tuple, not string to tuple. Uh, can only concatenate tuple, not string to tuple, red, green, and blue. So this is incorrect. So let us see. So let's define a tuple. Red, green, blue. Let's define this tuple and then try to add purple to this. So it says can only concatenate tuple, not a string to a tuple. So this is not allowed. Fine. So the correct answer is option B. Option B. Option D is incorrect. So you can't concatenate a string to a tuple. Fine. Anyone, do you have any doubts? Fine. So let's move on to the next question. Question number 8. So which statement accurately describes the use of Vader and data frames in sentiment analysis? So what is Vader? Vader is basically sentiment analysis tool provided by Python. It is a it is used for analyzing sentiment of text, not images. So the option A, Vader is a machine learning based tool used with data frames to analyze sentiment in images. Option A is incorrect. Fine. So let's see what is Vader. So it is basically a rule-based model for sentiment analysis of social media text. Fine. So let's see. Option A, it is not for images, so it is incorrect. Then option B, Vader is a lexicon and rule-based sentiment analysis tool often used with pandas data frames to assess sentiment in text data. So this is correct. Option B is correct. Then data frames are used to visualize sentiment analysis results, while Vader is a Python visualization library. This is incorrect. Vader is not a Python visualization libraries. Vader and data frames are used in data preprocessing and not specifically against sentiment analysis. This is also incorrect. So Vader is basically a sentiment analysis tool that works on text. Option B. Fine, everyone. I think we should move to the next question. Do you have any doubts? Fine, let's move to the next question. The method used for flipping the image in the PIL library is transpose parameter. That is statement 1. And then CLAHE, contrast limited adaptive histogram equalization is paired over adaptive for its advantage in handling noise, then which of the following options are correct? So so yeah. So which of the options are correct? So let's see. The method for flipping the image in the PL library is transpose, then followed by parameter. This is correct. And also, contrast version of adaptive histogram actualization is used because it allows advantages in handling noise. So this is also correct. So both the options are correct. Option B is correct. Answer is option B. Both the statements are correct. So anyone, do you have any doubts? Hello, am I audible? Please type in the chat box if I am audible. Am I audible? Please type in the chat box. Great. So let's move on to the next question. Consider the following snippet of code. So we have a character variable word string containing ABCD. Then we have a word list that contains the characters in the string A, B, C, D. And we have a word tuple that is a tuple containing values A, B, C, D. Fine. So we have a string variable, then we have a So we have a string variable, then we have a list containing, so string containing characters, then we have a list of those characters, and then we have a tuple, Python tuple of containing the same characters. So let's see which of the snippets will throw an error. So we are trying to update the value of the word list at the index 0. So yeah, this is correct. This will not throw an error. In option B, we are doing the same thing. This is also not incorrect. So this is correct. Then let's see option C. Word tuple at 0 equals to Z. So we are trying to change the value present in a Python tuple. This is not allowed. So basically, tuples are immutable in Python. So in option D, what we are trying to do, and option C, what we are trying to do, basically what we are trying to do, we are trying to change the value present in the value in the tuple word tuple. Fine. So this is incorrect. So let's see what happens for strings. So let's say we have a word string BCD. Now let's change the value word string at 0 equals to Z. So basically, you can't change the, so for strings also you can't change the values present in the you can't change the values present in the string word string also. So this is also incorrect. So both options B and C are incorrect. So the correct answer is answer options B and C. So basically, you can't assign the values to each character of a predefined Python string. You can't change the value stored in a Python tuple. Fine. So anyone, do you have any doubts? Everyone, anyone, do you have any doubts? Please type in the chat box. Please type in the chat box if you have any queries. Everyone, please type in the chat box if you have any queries. So I guess no one has any doubts. So these are the basic problems that I considered for this session. So there are some programming problems based on the topics taught in the lectures, in the sessions and PTL sessions. So now I will be taking on those problems and help you guys with solving these programming problems. So let's take a break for maybe 5 to 7 minutes, and then let's rejoin at at 7:22. 7:23, let's say. So let's break for 7 minutes. Five. Let's take a break of 5 minutes. We will resume at 7:21. Fine. Till then, type your queries in the chat box. So, hi everyone, welcome back. So, I see no queries from you guys. So, let us solve this problem that I have prepared for today's session. So, let's say we have a given square matrix M. So, I hope every one of you are familiar with the matrices. Do you know what are matrices? So, matrices are basically uh, mm, mm. So matrices are something like this. So I already have a sketch pad for that. So this is what a matrix looks like, or maybe. Fine. What is the matrix? Matrix is just two-dimensional set. Matrices are basically a set of scalars arranged in some shape. So this is an example of a two-dimensional matrices. It has these values are these are rows of the matrix, and these are the columns of the matrix. Fine. So this is row 0. This is row 1. Similarly, this is column 0, and this is column 1. Fine. So this is how we represent matrices are represented in mathematics. So let's see how to represent this matrix into Python. So basically, we can use a list of lists, and each list inside the bigger list contains one row of the matrices. So essentially, this matrix can be represented like this in Python. So it is a list of lists. So there are two lists, and there is a list containing two lists. Each list in the bigger list represents a row of the matrix. Three. So this is how you represent this 2 cross 2 matrix in Python using lists. Fine, everyone. So now look at the problem. The problem says we are given a square matrix M, and we are given two indexes I and J. We have to compute a matrix Mij. So what is the property of this matrix Mij? It is the matrix obtained by removing the ith row and the jth column of a matrix M. So we have to write a function whose name is minor matrix that accepts three arguments. The first argument is a matrix M, which is a square matrix. Then I, which is a non-negative integer, and J, which is also a non-negative integer. What the function should do, it should return the matrix Mij obtained after removing the ith row and the jth column of the matrix M. Note that we use zero-based indexing throughout. That is, if the matrix M is of dimensions n cross n, then I ranges from 0 to n minus 1, and J ranges from the value 0 to n minus 1. Fine. So everyone, is the problem statement clear to you all? Please type in the chat box so that I can have some feedbacks if you are able to follow the things that I'm trying to explain here. Everyone, please type in the chat box if anyone. Am I audible? Is my screen visible? Hello. Can you please confirm if I am audible? Hello. Uh, so Aryan, can you listen? Can you hear me? Fine. Thanks. Thanks, Shraddha. So I hope the problem statement is clear to you guys. So what we have to do, we are given a matrix M and we have to remove, we are given some rows, set of rows and columns. We have to remove the row and column from that matrix and return the minor matrix. So let's take an example here. So let's say our matrix M was this, okay? And our I was, let's say I was 0 and J was 1. Then what will be the value of Mij? What will be the value of Mij? So you have to remove 0th row and first column. So we have to remove the 0th row. So this is gone. Then the first column. So first column. So we will get the final matrix Mij, which contains only one element, that is 3. Fine. So this is the answer if I equals to 0 and j equals to 1. So let's take another example with a bigger matrix. So let's take a bigger matrix. So contains the following values. Let's say 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, then 1, 3. Basically a permutation of the first row. 1, 3, let's say some random. 1, 2, and then finally it contains 0, 4, 7, 8. Fine. So let's say this is our matrix M. Fine. And it is a 4 by 4 matrix. And for and the given I, we are given I equals to 2 and j is 1. Right. And so we all know that I goes ranges, the number of rows ranges from 0 to 3 since we are using 0 based indexing. And number of columns also go from 0 to 3 since we are using 0 based indexing. So now our task is to compute the matrix Mij, which is the matrix M with the row number I deleted, that is row number 2. So row number 2 is 0, 1, 2. So this is the row number 2. We have to delete this row. So let us cut this row. We have to delete this row and then we have to delete column number 1. So what is column number 1? Column number 1 is this column. So this is the second row, third row basically with index 2. So we have to remove this column. So we have to delete the entries in this column from the matrix M. And then we have to return the remaining matrix. So Mij would be, in this case, it would be a 3 cross 3 matrix containing the elements 1, 3, 4, then 5, 7, 8, and then 0, 7, 8. This is the answer for output. Okay. So how to do this? So how to do this in Python? How to do this programmatically? So we all know that this how to represent this matrix M. First of all, the question is how to represent the matrix M in Python. So basically, we will be using lists. So we can create a list of lists containing each row. So the first row is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the first row in the matrix M. Then what is the second row? It is 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's fill in the second row. 5, 6, 7, 8. Fine. Let's fill in the third row, which is an another list. It contains 1, 3, 1, 2. So 1, 3, 1, 2. And then finally, let us fill in the final list, the final row, 0, 4, 7, 8. So it contains 0, 4, 7, 8. So fine. So this is our matrix represented using list of lists. And now what we have to do, we have to remove the row number 2. So row number 2 means the list, the smaller list lying at the index 2. So these are the indexes for the specific list. So this is the list that we have to remove. So we have to remove the list number 2. So we have to remove this list. And then we have to, from each of these, each of the sub lists in the bigger list, what we have to remove? We have to remove the element at the index 1. So the element at index 1 in the zeroth list is 2 here. Then in the first list is list at index 1 is 6. And the list at index 3 is element 4. And now finally, we have to return the final list containing the left out items. So it will contain 3 rows. First row contains the elements 1, 3, 4. The second row contains the elements 5, 7, 8. And the third and the last row contains the elements 0, 7, 8. So when you compare this value with the value that we have obtained, this matrix that we have computed programmatically with the matrix that we computed in biomathematics here, you can see this list of list, and this matrix, both of these contains the same values. They are actually same. They are equivalent basically. Fine. So this is how we will write a program to do these operations. So there are other checks that we will need in the middle. So let's start. So yeah, let's zoom in a bit. So first of all, let's us what is the problem statement? Let's go back to the problem. So we need to write a function named minor matrix that accepts a matrix, a value I and a value j. So def minor matrix, it contains a matrix M, I, and J. Then what it has to do? It should return the matrix Mij after removing the ith row and the jth column Mfn. So what it should do? It should return a matrix Mij that is obtained by removing, make this smaller, by removing ith row and jth column from the matrix M. So let's do this. First of all, let's compute the total number of rows in the matrix M. So total rows in the matrix M would be length of the matrix list M. Basically, the number of small lists, sub lists, nested lists present in the list M. And what would be the number of columns? it will be the length of the entries present in the any one of the columns of the list. And since M is not an empty list, so it should the zero list in the M list will represent the total number of columns. Now the first thing I have to check is if I, so it is given in the program statement is that I will always be positive and J will always be positive. So fine, that is great. But what if I is greater than the rows? So let us ignore that case and let's start solving the problem. So now what we have to do, we have to create a new matrix Mij. Let's call it a blank list. And then what we have to do, we have to iterate through for the row in range rows for call in range calls. So basically we are iterating through each row and then each column of the matrix Mij. Now if row is not equals to I and call, sorry, if row is not equals to I, then what we have to do? And call is not equals to J. Then only we should create a list. So for each row, what we have to do? We have to create a temp list. Fine. Huh. So let's write a bit more efficient program here. So if row is not equals to I. So if we are not considering the ith row, then we create a temp list that is a blank right now. And then we iterate through each of the columns of the row. Now, if call is not equals to J, then what we have to do? We have to append the values in the list M at the index I comma J. Simple. And after we have done this, what we have to do? We have to append this list to the temp list to the MIJ. Finally, we have done and we have to return MIJ. Fine. Everyone, do you understand this program? How I have done this? How I have implemented this program? So essentially what we are doing, we are writing a function minor matrix. It contains three arguments, M, I, and J. We are computing the total length of a row number of rows in the matrix by computing the length of the matrix M, basically how many sublists it contains. Then we are computing number of columns by counting the number of elements present in the list sublist 0 at present at index 0. Then we are declaring a blank list, which is Mij, that will contain the output matrix. Then we are iterating through each of the sublists. So we are using row variable. It iterates from 0 to total number of rows minus 1. Then if the row is not ith row, so we can securely we can save this row, add this row to the target matrix. Then we are creating a temp matrix, and then we are iterating through each of the column of that particular row. And if that column is not equals to J, then we are appending the value present in the matrix M at the indexes I comma J. Then we finally append this temp sub matrix into the matrix Mij, and then we return the matrix Mij. Anyone, do you have any doubt in this program? So let's see how it works. So let's import our program from matrix import minor. From matrix import minor matrix. Anyone, do you have any doubt? So let's say we have declared this function minor matrix here. Now let us create a matrix M with some entries 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the first row, then declare the 5, second row 1, 2, 1, 2, something like this. 1, 2. So now this is our matrix M. It contains 4 rows and 4 columns. Let's define I to be 2 and j to be 1. Then let us call the function minor matrix. Pass the arguments M, I, and j. So you can see the output is 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Let us see. What if we remove the second list? So this list is gone. Then I start removing the, okay. So there is some issue in our program. Hmm. So let us see what is the issue. So our program has some bugs. Fine. So from matrix import, fine. So let us first print I, J, and M. So 2, comma 1, and this is our matrix. So let's start debugging our program. So let's first print M here, and let's see what it says. Fine, this is correct. Then, so okay, so this was the mistake. I was appending M at IJ. That is not correct. I have to append the matrix M at row at column. Now our answer would be correct. So you can see now it contains the values 1, 3, 4, 2, 4, 5, and 1, 1, 2. So this is the correct answer for this program, for this input. Fine. Anyone, do you have any doubts? Please type in the chat box. So we are declaring a function minor matrix that takes in a matrix as input, then in indexes I and j. We are computing the total number of rows in present in the matrix M. This is basically computing the total number of elements, that is total number of lists present in the matrix M. Then we are computing total number of columns present in the matrix M. What is the number of columns? It is basically the length of each of the rows, each length number of items present in each of the rows of this matrix M. Then what we are doing, we are declaring a blank matrix Mij. We are iterating through total number of rows in the using a variable row. And if row is not I, then what we are doing, we are creating a temp variable, temp matrix, temp list, and then we are iterating through each of the column of the matrix. Now, if column is not the jth column, then what I have to do, I have to append the values of row and column as a single in a one row of the matrix temp. Now the row temp, so the row vector temp is being appended to the final matrix Mij, and the loop repeats with temp gets reinitialized to blank, and this goes on until we get the final matrix Mij. So Aryan, is this clear? So are you familiar with how I am implementing matrices using lists, and how I am getting the total number of rows and columns in the matrix, and then how I am using this for loop to iterate through elements of the list? Aryan, can you type in and confirm? that you are able to understand these code segments individually. Great. So fine. So anyone do have any doubts? Please type in the chat box. So this was all for this session, everyone. So if you have any queries, please type in the chat box. I'm here till late. Fine. So hi everyone. Let's end this session. I guess no one has any doubts. So yeah, you can leave the session meeting.